Hey iKids, have you ever been on a trip and it took a really long time to get to your destination? Some people drive for days before they arrive at their destination. Flying is much faster than driving. But imagine if you couldn't fly, drive, or take a train or boat. Imagine if on that long trip you had to walk. It would take a super long time. In today's Bible story, we will talk about the Israelites' trip that they took to the lands that God had promised them, Canaan. But we are going to fast forward through most of the trip. Ready? Here we go. The Israelites traveled through the wilderness and ran out of food, so God provided manna from heaven for them to eat. God gave Moses the 10 Commandments so the people would know right from wrong. Despite all God had done for them, the Israelites worshipped a golden calf instead of God. The people built a tabernacle to God because Moses helped them understand that God alone is worthy of our worship. Whew. And that's where we are fast forwarding to, and we will pause it right here. Now, before we start our Bible story, I want to share with you our new Bible verse. It's Exodus 15:11. Who is like unto thee, O Lord, among the gods? Who is like thee, glorious in holiness, fearful in praises, doing wonders? Exodus 15:11. This verse comes from the song of praise the Israelites sang after God led them through the Red Sea on dry ground and destroyed Pharaoh's army. The song mentions other gods, but it's important to realize that God is the only real God, so only God has power. This verse compares the one true God to the false gods that other nations worshipped, like the false gods of Egypt. Our God was certainly more powerful than those fake gods. Let's say our verse again. Exodus 15:11. Who is like unto thee, O Lord, among the gods? Who is like thee, glorious in holiness, fearful in praises, doing wonders? Exodus 15:11. Now we can march boldly into our Bible story, much more boldly than the Israelites went to the Promised Land. Open your Bibles to the book of Numbers, chapters 13 and 14. Moses and the Israelites made their way to the promised land of Canaan. God told Moses to send men to scout out the land. So Moses chose one leader from each tribe. He told them to see what the land was like and whether the people living there were strong or weak, many or few. So the 12 scouts went into the land and traveled around for 40 days. They cut down a cluster of grapes that was so big it took 2 men to carry on a pole. Then they went back to tell Moses and the other Israelites what they saw. In my imagination, the conversation went something like this. Hey, Moses, we got great news. The land of Canaan is flowing with milk and honey. But just look at these giant grapes. But there is one problem. The grapes aren't the only thing there that are giant. The people there are kind of giant too, and they definitely look like they haven't missed any days at the gym. They also have these big walls, so we're kind of concerned about that. But one of the scouts, Caleb, spoke up and said, "We must go up and take possession of the land. We can certainly conquer it with God's help." One other scout, Joshua, agreed with Caleb. But the other 10 scouts all disagreed. "We can't go up against the people. They are stronger than we are. We look like grasshoppers compared to them." The Israelites were afraid, and they cried all night. They accused Moses of bringing them to Canaan to die. They wanted a new leader who would lead them back to Egypt. Now, time out. If you are thinking, wait, weren't they slaves back in Egypt? Then we are on the same page, because that's what I was thinking too. But not only that, didn't God provide for them a way out of Egypt? Didn't God part the Red Sea for them to escape the Egyptians on dry ground? Didn't God provide manna from heaven for them to eat in the wilderness? Yup. And they are absolute fools for wanting to turn back now after all God had brought them through. But Joshua and Caleb trusted God. They said, "The land we explored is extremely good land. If the Lord is pleased with us, He will give it to us. Don't be afraid of the people living in the land. God is with us." While the people argued, God came down to talk to Moses. "How long will these people not trust me?" God asked. God knew He would be perfectly just to destroy the people because of their repeated sin. But Moses prayed. Moses acknowledged how merciful, long-suffering, and forgiving God is. Moses pleaded for his people and asked God to forgive them. Because of the power of Moses' prayer, God spared the lives of the Israelites. Because God is a holy God, He always punishes sin. So God told Moses that those who saw God's glory and all of His miracles, like helping them escape from Egypt, providing a cloud for them to follow by day and fire to follow by night, manna from heaven, they wouldn't get to see the promised land because they still, after all that, continued to doubt God. Only Joshua, Caleb, and the children of the Israelites would be able to enter Canaan one day. The Israelites did not trust God. They rebelled against Him. And we can often be like those Israelites. Sometimes we don't trust or obey God like we should, but God is faithful to always forgive us when we ask. God still punishes our sin, but we deserve so much worse for our sin. Jesus took the punishment that we deserve when He died on the cross for us. When we trust in Him, He invites us into His kingdom to live with Him forever.